Right, let's do this. Hey guys, I'm Herc. I am a ultra runner. Recently, if you didn't know, ran the whole length of Cyprus, 400 kilometers in 4 days. And today we're going to be answering some of your questions. I put an AMA out on Instagram and thought that I would do YouTube instead because I wanted to answer a lot of these questions properly and not rush it to doing the 24 hours of my story. So I'm going to read them out. I'm going to answer as many as we can. Yeah, let's get into it. First question, Tom says, what does a day of your meals look like? Depends on like what phase I'm at, like if I'm trying to dial in for a certain run or plan, but I am actually so repetitive with my eating. So I have like the same thing every day. Every morning will be like some variation. I'll normally have like a protein bar, eggs. I'm like low carb in the morning because I find when I eat carbs too much in the day, I get a bit tired. Lunch will be fairly light as well. Chicken, bit of veg. Normally have like some yogurt in the day, a couple cans of cadence throughout the day. And then dinner is like always the same, which I probably need to start switching up, but I have like 4 burger patties, 4 eggs, half an avocado, a couple beetroots, feta cheese, salad. And I'm not gonna lie, I have like a crippling addiction to eating like a tub of Halo Top every single night, which, yeah, they need to sponsor me. Were you always athletic growing up? No. I was actually, for the most part of growing up, I was like always overweight, especially in like my early 20s. I got pretty big. We're definitely gonna have to put a picture on the screen, but yeah, I was probably like, well, I was way over 100 kilos. Now I'm sort of like in the mid 70s. So yeah, I was not athletic. I used to skip PE at school. Hated anything physically, hated running. The only thing I would do a lot was skateboarding, but yeah, I was not athletic at all. And I think that's like an important message, that genetics are important. A lot of people just grow up athletic, but if you're consistent, you can get to, you know, be able to run quick or lift heavy in the gym just by like being tenacious with your training. So I definitely didn't just fall into this life. Fueling advice for someone preparing for their first half marathon. I'd say like, if it's your first half, the aim is usually going to be just to get through it. It's not going to, you might have a time in mind, but ultimately you're just going to want to finish the race. So I'd say the difference between certain gels is not going to be overly important. What's going to be important is making sure that you have practice using them gels, because not every gel is going to sit right with your stomach. Some you might really hate the flavor. Some are just going to make you feel instantly sick or like you need to go to the toilet. So my advice would be practice gels in your training, and on the day, if it was me and it was my first marathon, first half marathon, I'd probably aim to take a gel every 5K just to be safe. That's only going to end up being like 4 or 5 gels max, so you're not going to overdo it. And like sometimes on a marathon, if you're like a gel every 4 or 5K, you end up taking like 20 gels and then your stomach has a really fun time. Dan says, would you do a day in the life vlog? Yeah, I think the plan more this year, I definitely want to share with you guys more my day-to-day, what I'm up to, not just training, but like my business and what I'm doing outside of training as well. For now, I think the plan is to do most of that on YouTube, so it would be more like week in the life, or a couple weeks in the life, as opposed to just one day. What's your go-to running trainers for daily? Superblast 2s all day, every day. I love this shoe. It's like sick for just easy runs. You can push it in them as well. So yeah, I highly recommend the Superblast 2s. But the new Nova Blast 5 is a sick shoe as well. I actually ran the majority of my run across Cyprus in the Nova Blast 5s. So yeah, I rate them. Who really inspires you and why? This is such a hard question because like I always say that I've never like looked up to people too much because I've tried not to put people on a pedestal as such, and I've always seen myself on the level of people who are excelling in their field because I've always believed that I can get to them heights as well. But realistically, like, if I'm being honest, people who inspire me are the people around me. Like, everyone in my circle, all my close friends are all inspirational people that are doing really sick things, whether it's like growing cool brands, businesses, training really hard, like in races or Hyrox, or like creating really sick art. I'm really lucky that everyone around me is an inspiration. It's hard for me to come away from seeing my friends and not feel inspired to push myself. So most people that inspire me are people in my everyday life, and I think that's really important to make sure the people around you are giving you energy and giving you life, not draining you from it. So yeah, most of my inspirations are people that I know. What kind of stretching routine do you have pre and post run? This is about as good as it gets. I'm not much of a, I'm not that good with my stretching. What I have been using recently is my PFP. I've been trying to get more into like, just rolling the legs out. This is sick because I can just take it everywhere and it's like, just boom, mini foam roller in there. So I've been doing a bit of foam rolling, but I'm not much of a stretcher, I've got to be honest. What advice have you received that made the most impact on your life? Wow. I wouldn't call it advice, but a like quote that stuck with me was, how you do anything is how you do everything. And that was something that like majorly clicked to me at one point. Like, all the small little habits that you have are what build the bigger picture. And I really have been saying it recently a lot, is like the monumental things are made in the minuscule. So deciding like, how do you wake up in the morning? Do you snooze your alarm straight away? Do you wake up with bad attitude? Do you, do you allow road rage to ruin your morning? And like, do you decide to have a Coke in the morning before a glass of water? All these things, I think, these little decisions, how you do, when you're at work, like, is there a job that you don't really want to do? So you half-ass it instead of still putting in 100% effort. So for me, that really changed my life in like, no matter what I'm doing, giving my best effort to things. So how I do the things that I don't really enjoy doing means when it's something that I do enjoy, I'm gonna excel at it. Nico says, most and least favorite skateboarding trick. Sick question. My favorite trick, we're gonna add a clip in of me doing one as well, would be a half cab flip. Least favorite trick would have to be a nollie flip because I'm shit at them. Sorry for all you runners out there, probably don't know what I was just talking about. Best way to get more Ks. Run more Ks. No, sorry to sound blunt. Sometimes it is a case of like, you gotta uncomfortably just like jump into where can you realistically add them miles in. So when I was training for Cyprus, some days would literally be like, run before work, run on my lunch break, run after work, if you really want to increase them Ks. But also you got to ask yourself what the goal is. Are you trying to increase them for the sake of it, or are you trying to increase them because you have a goal in mind? Because you got to be careful of just burning yourself out. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, the easiest way to add more time into your day is to either wake up earlier or do things later in the evening. I don't recommend doing both because then you're eating into your sleep time, and sleep is one of the most important things. I know there's like this grind culture of like, go to sleep at 10, wake up at 4 or 5, and don't get me wrong, like some days that is my life just because things are so busy, but if you can wake up earlier, you can get more Ks in. I also think a good tip is like, maybe on your interval days or your 5K days, your shorter days, add a couple kilometre warm-ups and warm downs onto them, because they will stack up at the end of the week. And running more than once a day. Don't be afraid to just get out there and just get a nice, easy... It doesn't always have to be 5K. Sometimes it's like 3K run to the shops if you need to go and grab something. Like, you can add mileage in that way as well. When are you going to do a Hyrox? Not this year. Yeah, it's not for me at this stage of my life right now. I've got some big goals in running that I want to hit them first. I would rather master, I say master, I'm not going to be a Kipchoge, but I would rather nail goals that I already have than try and do too much at once. So I would like to look at Hyrox next year, but for now, I definitely want to attack the marathon and a few more ultras before I look at changing up my style. Top 3 fragrances. I was so happy I got this question because I'm actually a bit of a geek with my fragrances, but I'm going to show you what they are. So, yeah, I've been collecting fragrances for a while. But I'm really into like my Tom Ford private blends at the minute. So my 3 favorite at the minute, Tuscan Leather, Tobacco Oud, and then my daily, which I pretty much wear all the time, is Tom Ford Ombre Leather. This one's nice as well because it's not that expensive. The private blends are a little bit more, but this is like, yeah, really reasonably priced. Smells sick, yeah, but into my Tom Fords at the minute. What is your why? I think my why used to be quite selfish. I think my why used to be like, why me? I used to be such a why me guy, the world is against me, you know, any issues that I had from like my childhood or like my early 20s, I never wanted to take responsibility for anything. So it was like me versus the world. Why, you know, don't I have the same privileges or opportunities as other people? And that led me down almost the path of like, oh, I'm gonna show you lot. And like my why was very selfish in that it was just me trying to prove to everyone else. And I think, well, I don't think, over the last 5 years, my why now is to help as many people that are in a similar boat as to where I used to be, come out the other end and prove to people that, you know, if you're in a dark space or if you're not feeling like, you know, you're enjoying fitness or movement or, you know, you're mentally not in the right frame of mind, I feel like my why now is to inspire as many people as possible to know that they can get better. They do have what it takes within them to push themselves. They can have their dream life, the things that they want. So for me, I've never felt as good as when I get messages on my Instagram and stuff where like people saying they feel inspired or I've helped them get through something. And I really enjoy writing, like whether it's like a voiceover or a caption or, yeah, I enjoy expressing myself through words. And I think if I can carry on doing that through my content and then through my running and inspire people to push themselves, for me, I think I'd live a very happy life knowing that I impacted as many people as possible. What hair products do you use? I get asked this question a lot, which is flattering because I feel like my hair ain't that good, but it is by Patrick's. It's called the M2. It's sick because this is like a medium hold one, so you can like still go for a run and sweat and it doesn't like get in your eyes and stuff. And all their stuff just smells sick. This one says sandalwood, it's banging. But yeah, Patrick's M2. Are you coming back to Sydney Marathon this year for the major? Yes, I have a bib. I will be running Sydney. I loved that race last year. I thought it was sick. And Sydney is just a vibe. I had so much fun there, so definitely going to be back. How did you come up with the idea of running the length of Cyprus? Yeah, I think for me it was, I always knew that I wanted to do something big. And yeah, I think that Cyprus for me was always a place that I used to go and like run away from my problems, hide from them. I used to go there and drink and do a whole bunch of other stuff as well. I was in a really dark place for a lot of my 20s. So for me, I wanted to do a big challenge. I wanted to prove to myself that, I could stick to something and execute it and do the training and see it through. No one had ran Cyprus yet, purely because it's just such a shit route to run, really. The country's split into two. You've got to cross the border on feet. So many of the roads don't really exist anymore. So for me, there was a lot of like sentiment behind it. It was an important place for me, and I wanted to go back there this time as a new man with like purpose and almost, my family are there, and it was just like, it's a special place to me. So to be able to be the first person that like ran the length of when I initially had that idea, I was no way near physically ready, but it was just like, wow, how sick would that be? And yeah, we made it happen. Han says, what camera gear do you use? 2025 is the year of gatekeeping, so I'm not telling, no, everything is not shot by, I don't shoot everything myself, so the Wizard Cafe is the one with the gear. What I will say is when I shoot with, I've got an Osmo DJI camera. They're sick, you literally can't go wrong. Highly recommend them. Is a backyard ultra of any interest? Yeah, absolutely. I want to do one this year. I want to do the BPM one, so if anyone watching can make that happen, get me a spot. I'll go there and I'll go for the gold. So, but yeah, definitely. What Garmin do you use? I have the Forerunner 5.5, which is literally the first running watch I bought. It's like £150 in Argos, and I've had more fancy watches since then, and I actually just love this one. It's simple, it does the job. You can't like load routes into it, so if I'm like going on a certain race, I will have to use another watch, but yeah, you can't go wrong with this one. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start running but finds it hard to start? Slow it down, take it easier. I always say like, just do it for the love of movement. So don't worry about your watch and your pace and what everyone else is running online, whether that means you run a little bit and then you walk and then you run a bit more and you walk, just like, do it at your own speed. There is slow, and like finding it hard. It's all relative to where you're at and where you're starting. So I would say take out any form of comparison and run what you can, when you can, and eventually it will get easier. Fashion inspo. God, I've been through so many fashion. I used to dress proper gothic, actually. It was really funny. I might have to find a picture to put on here, but I used to have hair like down here and all sorts, but full leather outfits. But yeah, in terms of like fashion brands, like brands that I love is obviously represent Acne Studios. I'm a big fan of. I really like the sort of boxy fit, distressed look, I guess, kind of like washed out colors, washed out denim. I'm not sure who I would like necessarily say I'm inspired by from a fashion point of view, but yeah, they would be the brands that I pretty much wear day to day. What's your day-to-day look like? Usually I wake up about 5:30, get straight to the gym. If I've got to run that day, I'll get the run out. I like doing my cardio first, because then it's like the more intense session and then it's just done. Then I'll be at the office or at the desk by like 8:30, 9, work throughout the day. Sometimes I'll hit a run or just a walk on lunch. Usually make some form of content, edit something, get something posted on socials, and then in the evening I'll usually hit the gym again. If I had cardio in the morning, I'll hit weights in the evening, sauna, a little bit of recovery. Me and Dee have dinner at the table every single night, which is a nice ritual we have. At the minute, I'm watching Lost, so maybe like one episode of Lost, and then always spend a little bit of time with Ozzy, my pet, which is a pet rabbit. I know it's not the most usual pet, but she got abandoned outside a shop a few years ago, and I just like, we adopted her, and she's like a house rabbit, so it runs around like a dog and stuff. But yeah, play with her, and then, yeah, to bed. That is literally a day dialed in, but most of the day is at my desk working on my business. So that might be out shooting content for our socials, working on strategy, finances. I'm mostly in sort of like the operational side of the company. Any future plans to live outside the UK? Absolutely. I'm sitting on my hands now. It's so cold here. I hate the winter. But yeah, I definitely long-term probably see myself outside the UK, somewhere hot. I traveled a lot of Southeast Asia when I was younger. Thailand, Cambodia, Bali. I really like Sydney. It's a shame it's too far away, but yeah, I loved Australia. But yeah, I can definitely see myself moving outside the UK. Best book you'd recommend? This is probably my favorite book I've ever read, Atomic Habits. Such a simple concept that if you actually can just sit and read the book, will click. Definitely changed my life. I mean, it says it on the front, tiny changes, remarkable results. Same as what I say, like, monumental is made in the minuscule. It's like the daily discomfort, the daily disciplines. Yeah, it's a great book. Highly recommend it. What is the best advice for someone starting content creation? Be yourself. That doesn't matter if it takes longer to grow, but don't feel the need to jump on every trend in audio, every trend that everyone else is doing, because you're just going to be making the same content as everyone else and you're in way more competition. Just being yourself. 100 people following you for who you are is, in my opinion, way better than 1,000 people following you just for the trends. And you want to be careful that you don't grow a page as opposed to a community. So my growth on socials, it hasn't been as quick as other people, but you know, I love the community that I've grown, chatting to people, doing AMAs like this, in my broadcast on socials as well. Like, just be yourself and enjoy the content that you're making. Don't be afraid to go outside the box, be unique, try new things, especially in the early phase. If a video doesn't do well and no one sees it, then it doesn't matter, no one sees it anyway. So it doesn't even matter if it's cringy, corny, like, people might judge you, but at the end of the day, everyone that's like popped off and done well was probably cringy and corny to begin with. That's just the price you pay to get on the other side. So yeah, be yourself is my number one advice. Okay, what's next? What's next? So yeah, we got quite a few plans in 2025. A few races, gonna do some big mileage again, but for now, the plan is to get the Achilles as healed as much as possible, because I am gonna attack London Marathon next. That's my next focus. Last year I ran it and I had loads of trouble with my Achilles. My foot now is still hurting from Cyprus. So got like 15, 16 weeks out. The plan is to go for a PB. Definitely want to be getting under sub 3. You heard it here first. That's the plan at London Marathon. So it's going to be a bit of a healing process / trying to come off the back of really high mileage and start getting quick again. So London Marathon is the next big race. Right, that's as many as we've got time for today. Thank you everyone for asking a question. Sorry if I didn't get to them. Try to answer as many as possible. We'll definitely do another one. I think when I hit, let's say, 1,000 subscribers on here, I'll do another AMA. But yeah, thanks for all the sick questions. Hopefully I answered them well and you learned something there. And see you guys soon. Like and subscribe. Sick.